Hi everyone, and thanks for joining me today at ItsYourseason.life, where we're just going to work on eating more veg. So this is a spin-off of the original ItsYourseason.life, and we're going to just talk about how to eat more veg, more grains, more anything that looks like a plant. So you don't have to be vegan, you don't have to be vegetarian for this podcast. We just want you to enjoy eating more veg. So let's get started. Hello everyone, and welcome to ItsYourSeason.life. Today we're going to talk about food. This is one of the food episodes, and we're going to talk about plant-based lifestyles. So it really doesn't matter today if you're full-on vegan or that's what your goal is to be, if you want to do Mediterranean. But really, if all you want to do today is just eat more veg, let's talk about how to get that into your diet and how to get it into your kitchen and pantry, because that's where you're going to pull from if you're wanting to pursue a more plant-based, plant-slant, plant-forward, whatever you want to call it, eating pattern. So let's start walking through some of the Bosun favorites, and then maybe it'll trigger some things that you might enjoy as well. So for vegetables, generally what I keep on hand, along with some beautiful lettuce and kale. And with the kale, I go ahead and just cut it off of the stems and chop it into kind of a rough chop and put it in a bag and keep it for salads or to put into soups. I also keep potatoes, and I know potatoes kind of get a bad rap, but I love steaming baby Dutch potatoes and beautiful purple baby potatoes and steam them in an Instapot for about 10 minutes and then keep those in the refrigerator, and then we can snack on them. You know, my feelings about potatoes is they have a lot of nutrition. First of all, they allowed the Prussian army to succeed way back, and that was one of the reasons why they were so successful, is because they had potatoes along with the Irish. So, you know, try to think of potatoes as nutritional additions. I also usually keep asparagus, and I have this wonderful asparagus holder. So even though I prefer to get it in the spring from our local growers, I will keep it from time to time. I'd say about once a month to pull from and quickly steam or grill or char or do something with. We just like asparagus. May not be your thing. That is totally cool. I keep multicolored grape tomatoes for not just the nutrition, but also for garnish. We garnish our avocado toast. I will roast them if they start looking a little sad and make them into a tomato sauce. So they're always wonderful. They were always in our pantry. Tricolor peppers, the ones that come in the bag with red, yellow, and orange. We are not green pepper eaters. You might be. That's totally cool. But I keep tricolor peppers, and again, when they start getting a little marginal, I will roast them and make a soup out of them, and you can freeze those roasted peppers as well. I love keeping sweet kale salad mix in the refrigerator. So there are several store brands now. I used to always buy Eat Smart because they were about the only ones. But now pretty much every store brand has some type of sweet kale salad mix that usually has broccoli, Brussels sprouts, kale, chicory, and radicchio. And I usually do not keep the salad dressing, but we use that sweet kale salad mix a lot, and actually wrote a cookbook on 21 different recipes that you can use the sweet kale salad mix for. Carrots, pretty much any color. Keep the traditional orange. I will tell you, when you peel and cut whole carrots instead of the baby carrots, your life is going to change. But if you are busy and you just need to get the bags of baby carrots, that's cool. I love other colored vegetables, and so I do like to keep the purple ones on hand when I can find them. And then yams and sweet potatoes, because, gosh, a quick meal is a baked, roasted yam or sweet potato and put some black beans on it and maybe some squash. You can put some plant-based crumbles on it. You can do a lot with a yam, and also make a sweet potato pone out of it for Thanksgiving, which is coming up. In regards to fruits, we always keep bananas, berries, apples, avocados. Yes, avocados are a fruit, and pomegranates. As far as leafy greens, I think I mentioned that I do like to buy kale and go ahead and cut it off of the stem and then keep it ready to go and rough chop and have it if I want to cook it. Particularly for me, I don't like steamed kale. But I don't mind it in a soup. And I like it raw in a salad. So something to think about with plants. There's a lot of plants out there, and some plants are for some people and some aren't. And so I ask everyone, if they can, who asks me, give it a try. Try a kale, for example, raw or cooked or steamed or saute, and see if there's a way that will work for you. Some people are just not a particular plant person. I'm not a real collard green person. I grew up in the South. That is just not my thing. But do give things a try. Sometimes it's just, you may not like it steamed, but you might like it raw and vice versa. So, give all these things a try. I also keep aromatics, either garlic, always garlic, always have fresh garlic. But you can also buy squeezed it comes in tubes, garlic. You can do ginger that way and lemongrass. Those are always nice to have on hand. Shallots, I love shallots. I love crispy shallots in a microwave. A great way to do that and have those on hand just to add some flavor and some crunch. And I always keep cilantro and parsley. It's cheap. Gosh, for 75 cents, you have some herbs to put on things and make things beautiful. And so you don't always need to be making a dip or a pesto out of them. It's an inexpensive way to get a lot of vitamins, actually, but also decorate and make your dish beautiful. So for beans and legumes, I always have canned beans. As much as I love dried beans and cooking dried beans, I always keep canned beans on hand, especially garbanzo beans. I love cooked dried garbanzo beans, but if you're a busy professional, you don't always have time. So any canned bean is great. Find your favorite. But once you have them cooked from dried, you'll go, oh my gosh, there's no other way. So to eat a bean, but I always keep canned chickpeas and cannellini beans and navy beans and beans. So any canned beans. I love French lentils, and they're my favorite lentils because they don't fall apart. I have a video out on YouTube on how to cook a French lentil and not have it become mushy, and then you freeze them and you can add them to things and they keep their texture and their shape. They're just beautiful. French lentils and black rice to me are a marriage made in heaven. Frozen soybeans, I keep on hand peeled. They are peeled, they are shelled, so I keep shelled soybeans on hand as well. For grains, I always keep oatmeal, whether it's old-fashioned oatmeal or steel cut. I kind of go back and forth on that one. And I always like to have boil and bag brown rice. I know that sounds terrible because if you look in my pantry, I have every kind of black rice, red rice, white rice, arborio rice, brown rice, long grain rice, rice. But a fun thing to have on hand, especially if you're vacationing, is boil and bag brown rice. It reminds me, I might actually do a podcast on vacationing and being plant-based and what to take. But boil and bag brown rice, especially if you are a small household or by yourself. I love to bake my own brown rice, but I think boiling bag to have it ready to go is kind of okay too. Don't disregard the boil and bag brown rice. And there is a plethora of multigrain seed mixes that are on the off the shelf now. So you can go to Target or Walmart. Target has a huge, probably the biggest variety of multigrain seeds, and maybe lentils sometimes, but multigrain in the bag, ready to go off the shelf, heat it up in 90 seconds, and you've got a lot of protein and a lot of fiber. So great resources there. So I usually have one or two of those. And then I love ramen noodles, and I love noodles. I have a lot of different kinds of noodles, but my favorite that I keep on the shelf is a millet rice ramen noodle. So for non-dairy products, we always keep Silk high protein. I'm not doing commercial for them, just telling you that's what we like. So when I get asked, what do you have in your refrigerator, this is what you're getting, is a high protein plant-based milk, and Silk has one where they add pea protein to it and you get about 10 or 14 grams of protein. I have also high protein yogurt. You'll find your favorite, but mine is Kite Hill that I think has 12 grams of protein. And I do keep ice cream for treats, not all the time, but you'll find your favorite ice cream where maybe just, an eighth of a cup is just enough to quench your sweet tooth. My favorite brand is So Delicious Cashew, but that's a cashew milk. Any of their cashew milk ones, I think that they have spot on the texture. I've tried some of the others, not my thing. But just remember, you have 30,000 taste buds. I have 30,000 taste buds, and our taste buds are going to taste things differently, and we're going to enjoy different mouth feels. So just be aware of that. So going into kind of other products, I know this sounds crazy, but I keep canned tomato soup on hand because I can take a can of chickpeas and tomato soup and some roasted red peppers and blend them up with some berber, and I have a 4-ingredient soup for lunch that has protein and lycopenes from the tomatoes and lots of other good things, some fiber. So I do keep a can of tomato soup. I know that's crazy. Pasta sauce, I like to make my own, but sometimes you can find great pasta sauces. And then to pair with the pasta sauce is the higher protein brands of pasta. So vegan does not mean gluten-free. Somehow this has gotten into the commercial world or the consumer world, I should say, that somehow vegan is no meat, so no protein, and gluten-free, and that's just not the case. So, there are some higher brand of proteins. Berea I like. I love Berea high protein. Anything whole grain is going to have more protein. There is a great company out of Boulder, Colorado that is making shaped pastas out of ancient grains grown in Boulder County. They're called, Pastificio Boulder. So I will use those. Every once in a while I'll use a Banza chickpea pasta, but that's just not my thing. I think some of the products do have a hard time holding their consistency, and if you're just going to eat pasta once in a while, have a pasta that's going to hold together, keep its shape. It's another reason why I like this Pastificio Boulder. They're just fantastic shapes, and they're whole grains. I also keep nutritional yeast mixes, so you will find on my website nutrition, or in the cookbooks as well, where you'll mix nutritional yeast, cuisine-related spice blends like Italian or Indian or Southwestern, Tex-Mex, Asian, Greek, you name it, a spice blend, and also connecting up with that the related seeds and nuts. And I blend those together, and that's what I use almost primarily now in a salad. I'll use a nutritional spice blend mix with some grated olive oil, grated garlic and olive oil. I also keep Marmite soy sauce Magi, I think is how you say it, and porcini powder. These are extra points, actually. This is the umami triad. So when we're trying to make a soup taste more beefy, we need to combine one of these 4 products, Marmite soy sauce, Magi, porcini powder. And I would almost include kitchen bouquet in that, just to get things tasting more meaty. We can talk about that in a later episode, and I think I have a video on that. And then finally, I keep better than bouillon, not chicken and not beef, bouillon cubes or paste in the pantry. You will find that all everywhere. So you can take things that I just talked about and make dishes. And you can also make soups or stews or sauces that can become like what we would consider that umami taste, that glutamate that you get from our beef. And then finally, just some fun things that I keep on hand that make things easier is a garlic grater ceramic dish, a soft skin peeler to peel peaches and different things that are a little bit harder to peel, and then an immersion blender. So not everyone has a full-on blender. They might have a small kitchen. I love an immersion blender when you don't have a lot of space. So those are my go-to things. I also do keep mushrooms. I'm not going to say 100% of the time, but we do cook a lot with different kinds of fresh mushrooms. And I always keep some type of a meat crumble because they're getting so good in the freezer. So I hope you had your pen and pad out. You can always re-listen to this and take some notes. But these are just some of the basic things that the bosuns keep in their pantry and kitchen, and a little bit in the freezer, so that we always have something that we can pull from to make a dish. So I hope you enjoyed this podcast, got some ideas on what might work for you as you add more plants to your meal plan, into your eating pattern. I have to always think about what they call it now. That doesn't come easy to me. Eating pattern. But you don't have to be. Nobody's telling you have to be 100% plant-based. But the data is pretty good on eating more plants, less meat. So let's do it. Let's eat more plants, eat more veg. Y'all have a great day. Thanks for joining me. Hey everyone, thanks for joining me today. I hope you have a new tip for eating more veg. Give me a shout out with comments or suggestions for future podcasts. And be sure and check out my website. Follow my cooking demos on YouTube under either Lisa Boesen, Boesen, or ItsYourseason.life. And if you need a recipe, visit me on Amazon and other online book retailers. And remember, it's always your season to eat more veg. So let's get cooking.